Hey, maybe the recording will record my voice because I'm talking louder. Anyway, it's Saturday morning. How you doing? I would do a live, but I just think that we're not at that stage. Partly because guess what? I was right. There are more people posting content on YouTube than the amount of people are watching YouTube. So the inflection point was like reached about, I guess, 3 years ago. And so that's a problem because that's why these ads start popping up in the middle of your favorite YouTuber content. By the way, VidCon, if you're going, go, have fun. Or if you're there, have fun, fun. That's happening. Um, So it is super bright, unfortunately, and I thought I had like gotten out of the sun a little bit. Um, Last week I drove, and when I drive, I even admit it's a little hard for me to do. I get like really sidetracked when I drive. And when I'm also a passenger in a car, like I was last night, and I had to get out of the car. Yeah, I have enough of an issue with cars, either the vulnerability of being a passenger sometimes or just the erratic behavior of the driver. And it was somebody I was related to, but I just got out of the car. Had to do it. Couldn't couldn't see the way around it. And I don't do well in situations where I think I'm in danger. So, anyway, but it wasn't a lift. By the way, A's won last night. Yay. It was a great fireworks show. Saw the fireworks. Saw the fireworks. It was pretty awesome. Um, sorry, I've just seen a wonderful cat. Oh, by the way, if you're looking for a cat, there might be one that will make an appearance around here. I don't know. But one has come into the neighborhood, and we don't really have a name for it. We have a pseudonym for it because we don't know if it's a boy or a girl. And hmm, it's been interesting. That being said, swimmer's ear. Oh my gosh. Oh, that has got to be the worst. Oh, come here, you. Um, like I said, there's kitty cats, and they're pretty cute. Looking for the sun this morning. Obviously, I found it. Let's make sure that we look at the full ticket in voting. It's not just the top third, it's going to be the Secretary of States, the county secretaries, the Registrar of Voters secretaries. It's going to be the people that, like your mayors, your delegates, your judges, that are going to decide whether or not your vote counts. So Biden is fine to vote for. Um, I have thoughts, but look at who your governor is. Look at who your attorney general is. Look at who your secretary of state is of your state, like whether it's Alabama or Oklahoma or Kansas or Michigan or South Carolina, Texas, Florida, Mississippi, Louisiana. All of you have to look at who is going to say your vote counts. Is your governor going to validate your ballot? Is the um, county dog catcher? I apologize, but here in Oz, San Francisco Bay Area, I call it Oz. We have a register of voters, and they count and validate your ballot. Then it goes to, I believe, the Secretary of State and accepts the ballots and accepts the counted votes. And they say, yes, we vote this way. And I think the Attorney General or the governor says, yes, we voted for so and so, or this is the number of votes that we have. That also being said, it is June 22nd. You have time to register to vote if you are not already registered. Remember, they're only, by legal definition, a registered voter can vote in an election. You have to be registered in your district to vote. Whatever those rules are, and I'm sorry, some of them have gotten a little twisted, but I can't stop somebody in Alabama from choosing to make sure you have your driver's license. I just have to make sure you get your driver's license so you can vote, so you can register to vote, and you can vote. Volunteer if you can't vote, or you voted and you're going to volunteer somewhere. Volunteer on the day of. Volunteer before if you can. These individuals who counted the votes in 2000 worked tirelessly. Didn't, they weren't doing anything wrong. They were doing their civic duty. And it is your civic duty to vote. Now, I know for myself, I got the right to vote in 1989 or 1990. I think 1990. I think it was 1990. And I was excited to vote. By 1994, I was not excited to vote. And when I did vote, I kind of said, oh, this is a nice name. Oh, this is a nice name. But I voted. I even volunteered for Ross Perot. So you're not talking to somebody that doesn't know picking a candidate that is a third party. But remember, what proved to be Clinton's presidency was the fact that the number of registered voters that would have voted for Ross Perot went to him. Not, not anything more. And it's the number of registered voters in a county, in a city, in a state that really is going to make the difference. So if you think about, oh, my state has 8 million people. Heck, there's 8 million people in San Francisco Bay Area. And even in San Jose, oh my gosh. If you look at the March primary for San Jose, the registered voters that voted was less than 1%. Less than 1% of people voted in the San Jose primary. That is really tough. And because of that, the runoff for the county just, it happened because not a lot of people voted in Santa Clara County in California. And whether it's voter exhaustion, whether they moved, whether they, oh, well, there's a primary in March. We forgot. Sorry, it used to be in April or May, I think. But we moved it up because we think we're important. Sorry, I'm not in Ohio, kids. So, oh, by the way, tart juice. Maybe I'm a little bitter. Who knows? Maybe I have a urinary tract infection. Maybe there's Shingella. Like, I think they're making up diseases sometimes. But anyway, back to voting. Please vote. Please help people vote. There are propositions on some ballots that are so convoluted that it wasn't like we had the an act to make sure that uh, ballot material wasn't more than 500 words, and you had to say if it was budget friendly or budget deficit, if it enhanced your budget or if it was a deficit to your budget. And I was reading one in, I'm gonna say it was Minnesota. I'm not sure. I was reading one, and people, the number of times they said to ensure the protection of the vote, and yet it was legislation. It wasn't legislation. It was a way to discriminate voters. And they kept on using the word, this will protect your vote. This will protect the process of voting, something something. And it was also a loyalty test in that legislation, in that vote. And I was like, wow, that isn't okay. I think somebody described having loyalty is great, but it when was the last time a corporation was loyal to its employees? Do you think a politician is any different? When you donate, this is one reason why I say do not donate to political campaigns and candidates, because if they lose, they don't give you your money back. They keep it. Do you think that's right? Do you think that candidates that lose, that have gotten millions and millions and thousands of dollars, should keep the money that you gave them? I didn't know that you had that much money to give away. I mean, we've got housing problems, but oh, please, by all means, have a $50 million campaign for a city mayor that has a population of less than $30,000, 30,000 people. Seriously, that is happening in a town near you, or actually near me, but not San Jose. It's the other one. Anyway, um, so please help, you know, learn the ballot, read the ballots, um, exemplify the ballots. We cannot uh, we cannot let democracy go so silently into the night. That being said, let's get back to the YouTube thing. So I actually got to talk to a YouTube producer, or a former YouTube producer. And I learned a few things. Um, there is an algorithm. They do change it to help them. Again, why don't politicians return the money after they've lost a campaign versus, hey, you gave me $5, I'm gonna give you your $5 back. I guess candidates aren't like Costco, won't take a tree back. But YouTube, they do change the algorithm. There are tiers of producers and content creators, and I think at VidCon, TikTok has a really big presence because TikTok thinks that it will overturn the ruling by the Senate. And the reality is that the government already spies on us. So what are you trying to do? It's not going to work that way. Nope, 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 nope. But YouTube's viewership hours, people viewing on YouTube, has like declined, or it's remained steady but it hasn't increased as much as people have produced for produced content on YouTube. And there is stuff, I mean, you can Google anything in the search bar of YouTube. Just go ahead and Google that. Google, how many hours do you need somebody to be watching you to garner whatever? And you'd be amazed. The interesting thing is that also on YouTube, people that are saying things have changed or have they're hey, like and subscribe. No, but they've also been on YouTube since they were 14. Since they were 14. They have their mother and their father or an agent that has worked with them probably a long time. There is one that has been on YouTube that was doing YouTube when I think they were 10, and they were just trying out like to do the cheers or something, I think it was. And this is where the child, video kind of thing gets really crazy. So they started earning money when they were 10 or 13. I'm not sure exactly the whole story. And when they were 13 and they were earning money, it was going into, basically a checking account for their parents, but they were getting the allowance from it or something like that. And then when they turned 18, they upped the game. They did the other thing. And if you notice, Mr. Beast went to Amazon, and I think we're actually going to go back where you would have channels of content producers just like you would ABC, NBC, PBS, and so forth. And you will have somebody that was on YouTube have a show. And I mean, we see it with the Real Housewives of Bravo. They've left. they left. But then they're on YouTube filming themselves doing a podcast that's going on Spotify, which is interesting because now so many platforms, I think even including this one, your information and your content is now theirs. So, good luck with that. But yeah, I think I watched maybe, I think I watched about 3 or 4 vlogs, and sometimes I'm watching them at work, just to have it in the background while I do some mundane stuff. Or I'll have it on in the room and in my bedroom when I'm cleaning. June is becoming a long month. Oh, and by the way, I'm calling this not a recession. The financial situations is now an attrition. Think about it. An attrition is a natural letting go of things, of people. It would be an attrition. Like if a company took over another company, there would be natural attrition in the fact that people would leave or retire. That is what's happening in the business world right now. I was walking Santana Row, and I saw some empty storefronts. I've been reading about the wineries in what used to be, the #1 producer of wineries in Northern California. Not so much anymore. Um, it's interesting when uh, you think about it. There is a problem with food. Oh, food waste. Oh my gosh, we have to talk about that. We're going to talk about that in just a minute. But when you drive, like I I was driving, and I was driving a really kind of snazzy neighborhood, and there was empty storefronts. That is, you know, that's distinctive. If you're looking around your neighborhood and you're seeing empty storefronts, or the posh place that you used to go to, that's going to continue. It's not doom loop, it is just attrition. It's people that no longer can afford it. And the reason I know this happens is because there's a restaurant owner who had flooding in his basement, but he's blaming it on a item that didn't affect. I think it's in the SF standard. The bike lane didn't diminish the businesses, especially if you go off the receipts. But the one thing about that thing, they're not talking about the inflation of the product. And yes, people did come back to Valencia Street, but the inflation of the meal. I used to have Marina Girl salad at Tacolicious, and I've stopped doing that. And I think I have now the burrito um, at the taqueria, or La Cuembre. In fact, La Cuembre is a great thing. I would have the Marina Girl salad at Tacolicious, which was about $15. It's now, I think, 16 or 17. And then I would also have the burrito at La Cuembre on Valencia Street, and it was always about $13. The other day, it was $17. So, yeah, the bike lane didn't affect the receipts, because the people that were buying stuff were paying more. I have a thing on my blog, apple 50apples.blogspot.com, and I'm paying $8 average for a cup of coffee. So there's that. And food waste, one more time. So I was like looking at food waste, and I it is really simple food waste, by the way, when you're thinking about it. The to-go box, but also you're planting a garden. Great, I'm happy for you. But how much are you planting, and how much are you actually growing? Because I was watching somebody that has an amazing garden, an amazing homestead garden. It's totally for their benefit. Sorry, I have to drink out this one. And they admit that they've done too many seedlings, that they don't have enough space or planned garden space for the seedlings. That is food waste too. That's where it starts almost. When you do not properly plan your garden. And trust me, it is hard. I was looking at some fabric planters and doing some carrots maybe, or doing a potato or something like that, but that did not happen. Um, so I'm looking for that squirrel, or actually the cat too. Oh, no cat. But so yeah, um, there's a lot you can do about food waste, But if you are growing a garden, plan properly. You know. 4th of July is in 2 weeks, or about 10 days or so. Actually, I take that back. It's probably 17 days. I take that back. Be good. Vote the entire ticket, the entire ballot.